Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. Now that the smoke is cleared, I feel like we can have a more intuitive conversation about the whole R-Truth release. And I think the number one thing to come out of all of this is, as I said before about the job security thing, man, because it's like, I think people need to understand, man, when it comes to R-Truth getting released, it's a way bigger deal than what most people are really thinking about at the moment. You know, for people who are considering it to be an age thing, or, you know, like, oh, R-Truth, he put in the work, he put in the time, you know, let other people get a chance. You know, it's a bunch of cope. You know what I mean? Because if someone has something that they could deliver, then that should be enough. Like, you got something to offer. It's not just you saying that you have something to offer. It's the fans, it's the employees, it's the workers telling you that you got something to offer. I'm gonna read this article for you real quick via Ringside News because I think this sums it up pretty well, okay? Link is down in the description box below. R-Truth's abrupt departure from WWE has created a ripple effect backstage. And it's not just about shock or disappointment anymore. His release has reportedly made several WWE superstars take a hard look at their own contracts and job security. According to PW Insider, the decision to part ways with R-Truth, real name Ron Killings, has left a lasting impact on the roster. Despite being a respected veteran, and never having any backstage issues, Truth was contacted over the weekend by a member of WWE's talent relations department and informed that his deal would not be renewed. The news caught everyone off guard, including Truth himself. In the aftermath, some talent are now privately admitting that the situation has made them realize how unstable things really are. One wrestler told PW Insider the move made them feel like nothing in the company is guaranteed, regardless of how long you've been there or how popular you are. It was noted that Truth's release pushed them to start thinking ahead, making sure their next deal is negotiated and finalized well before it's set to expire. Backstage reaction to the release has been overwhelmingly negative. Many wrestlers, including some top names, expressed confusion and disbelief, with a few even calling the decision ruthless and unnecessary. The consensus is that Truth's exit is one of the most baffling and unpopular calls the company has made in years. WWE has yet to issue an official statement on Truth's status, aside from a since-deleted tweet by WWE SmackDown lead writer Road Dogg. The company has remained silent. Meanwhile, the internal damage appears to be done, as even longtime talent are reevaluating their trust in the system. And I think that sums it up pretty well, man. You know, just to give a little bit of, not insight, I don't think that's the best word to say, because it's not as if I'm talking to the WWE superstars personally. But I'll just tell you, I remember Jim Ross on his Grill and JR podcast made some notes on how he hired people for the company, right? And one of his biggest criteria, outside of obviously what you can do for WWE in itself, was how did you conduct yourself in the locker room? Were you a locker room leader? Were you the kind of person to bring positivity to the locker room and boost morale? Were you the kind of person to be relied upon? You know, we look at it strictly from a production standpoint, right? What can you do to be productive within the company? And we look at that strictly, that's it. Are you entertaining? Are you a draw? Can you wrestle? All that kind of stuff. And to be quite frank, that kind of checks off the boxes for R-Truth also. He was entertaining, but he got released with like one of the biggest shirts and one of the biggest merchandise is currently going on right now as we speak in WWE. He got released this weekend and he had one of the top merchandises, that John Cena shirt. And he was a draw. Go look at the social media numbers when it comes to R-Truth, especially when he was 24/7 champion, especially with the Judgment Day segments. R-Truth was a draw. This constant having to take away all this stuff from R-Truth and pretending he wasn't this and he wasn't that, strictly so you can push your narrative about his age, is bullshit. Like I said before, when it comes to age, it has merit, but it's not the end-all be-all when it comes to the conversation. Because no matter how old you are, did you provide, can you provide, or did you not provide, and can you not provide? Big difference. Now, I'm not here to bring up people's current situations and say things like, oh, how the hell does R-Truth get released but not this guy? I don't know WWE's thought process when going through this, but that's the troubling thing that I want to discuss right now. What is their thought process when releasing superstars? Because I'm not understanding it now. I don't get it. It's not even a dick riding session when it comes to R-Truth. It's just reflecting off the situation. I don't understand the practices that goes on in WWE in regards to how they actually figure these things out. You know, some superstars I understand, some superstars I get. I remember hearing them talking about when they were going to release the NXT superstars. They said they were going to do that every 6 months, right? Based off of productivity. That makes all the sense in the world. But when you have someone who is actively being productive, when you have someone who everybody adores in the locker room, fans don't seem to have a problem with him. Buddy doesn't get in trouble at all. It's confusing. Can we at least admit to that? There's no way you can just say everything happens to do, all the stuff that happens to do with John Cena's, or excuse me, R-Truth's release, all that's reflective off of the man's age. You sound like a crackhead when you say some shit like that. That's some massive dick riding. That's some massive WWE dick riding code. It's a problem unlike any of the other releases because you can clearly see what that superstar couldn't have offered or what they didn't offer. You can legitimately give R-Truth anything to fuck with, and not only is he going to make the best of a bad situation, not only is he going to thrive, but he's going to throw it back up in your face and bring you some money. Whether you appreciate R-Truth is neither here nor there. That's your personal opinion. That's your subjective opinion. Objectively, you see these people coping about numbers and metrics when it comes to his age. Okay, let's talk about numbers and metrics. Go look at his social media numbers. Go look at his merchandise. Like, all this coping on behalf of WWE makes no sense to me. Why can't you just objectively look at the facts and just say to yourself, well, even though I don't like R-Truth, like, I don't understand the premise as to what they're working with. Why is that so hard? Like, WWE does not owe you a fucking thing, just like you don't owe WWE a fucking thing. You can still like the company. You can still ride and die with the company while at the same time saying, yeah, man, that decision, that shit don't make any sense. What is the positive with releasing R-Truth? What is the positive? How much money are you actually saving compared to what he's actually making for the company? But none of these people actually want to legitimately talk about this and discuss this in an objective manner. And now what you do for all the people out there who want to play the tribalism game and you talk about AEW sucks this and AEW sucks that. Well, listen up, dumb fucks. If that's your whole premise in regards to this, even though you won't fucking come out and say it outright, that's fucking obvious. That's the whole point. You just want to dick ride WWE. Okay, well, take that same thought process and understand that now everybody from a moral standpoint is looking at AEW right now. No matter how I feel about the product personally right now, there's a lot of momentum being swung in their way right now, currently at the moment. Do you really want to give up all the precedent already set by WWE? You already gave up some right now with some of the storylines you're running in comparison to AEW as far as their main event scene is considered. Now you want to give up the morale of it? It's like we're reverting back to the Vince McMahon era that everybody was complaining about before. But even Vince McMahon, I don't remember him being this savage. Say what you will about Vince McMahon, bro. At least to a certain degree, the releases that he made, you say to yourself, okay, that person can be released. Okay, there's a lot of money being spent on that person. There's not a lot of ROI. I disagree with the decision, but I can see the thought process. There's no thought process behind R-Truth getting released. None of this makes sense. I'll reiterate this again. He was a draw when he got released. He was not a troublemaker backstage. All these superstars loved him. Go on social media right now. I've seen posts from Rhea Ripley. I've seen posts from Dominic Mysterio. I've seen posts from Damian Priest so far. Hell, even people who don't work for the company anymore. I've seen posts from Dominic Dijak. I've seen Ricochet post a comment underneath R-Truth's release statement. And he works for a different company. Outright just coming to R-Truth and saying how much he loved him and how much he fucks with him. No matter how you feel about the superstar in question, it just goes to show you what he meant to the locker room and to the fans overall. And on top of that, again, third time mentioning this, he was a draw. If your argument is literally about age, you make no sense, especially when you look at all the other top superstars and you say to yourself that almost all of them are either in their 50s, they're pushing towards their 50s, or they're in their mid 40s. And even some of the superstars who are in their mid 40s, they ain't drawing like R-Truth. And quite frankly, they ain't moving like R-Truth either. And don't give me that nonsense with the 53-year-old shit too, because R-Truth still moves like he's in his 30s. He still looks like he's in his 30s. You wouldn't even be able to tell R-Truth was 53 unless he outright told you, or unless you looked up the information. So please, miss me with the nonsense. Why do you keep giving WWE a pass on shit that doesn't make any sense whatsoever? Like, why do you keep doing that, bro? Like, if it's all just the tribalism nonsense, can you at least subjectively look at the situation that's at hand and say to yourself, like, yeah, that situation right there's fucked up. I still love WWE, but that situation, you can't even do that. It was a fucked up situation. And I'm not here to discuss whether or not it was Triple H who had the final say so as far as like what he actually, most likely that happens to be the case. I'm pretty sure that happens to be the case most likely, especially with a talent as big as R-Truth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Triple H had a role in that. Am I here to talk about or discuss stupid shit like, oh, racism, Triple H is so fucking racist? No, that's dumb. They just fucking released Dolph Ziggler like 2 years ago and he was there with the company for damn near 20 years. Has nothing to do with race whatsoever. Apollo Crews right now, again, I'm not throwing anyone under the bus like I said earlier on, but I'm just making a point. I don't know how the fuck Apollo Crews keeps, I want him to keep a contract, I want him to keep making money, but I'm just saying, objectively, I don't understand how he keeps surviving all these cuts. Triple H is so racist that he's going to release an R-Truth, but he's not going to release Apollo Crews? Make it make sense. None of your arguments make any sense whatsoever when it comes to racism. It comes back to what is the thought process behind Triple H and what the fuck he does. It does not seem like there's a solid thought process that goes into any of this. That's where it comes down to. It comes down to the proven allegations that Triple H does not seem like he's built for any of this. And all the criticisms that he's currently getting right now, you can separate the positives and you can separate the negatives, but right now the negatives are very much outweighing the positives. The fairy tale fucking honeymoon thing that's been happening all throughout last year when he was actually cooking is not currently ongoing at the moment. He's making a lot of bad decisions. Whether or not you want to tie that to Nick Khan, whether or not you want to tie that to The Rock, he is the centerpiece. If he gets all the credit, he also gets all of the criticism. Yet no one wants to face this head on. That's the aggravating part behind all of this, is that everybody keeps giving this pass to Triple H and suggesting that the decisions that he's making, well, it has to be for a reason, and therefore because he's in that position of power and he's making all the decisions and we're just the outside looking smarks, we're all the marks in the end of the day, we have to just accept the bullshit. Even though I know for a fact none of you would take that same type of fucking mentality and put it towards a Tony Khan. See, I'm gonna call out both for what it is. I think Tony Khan sucks and I think Triple H sucks, but right now at the moment Triple H happens to be in the spotlight when it comes to sucking. I can still love WWE and talk about that point. I can still love WWE. I can still say that my childhood and all the things that even Vince McMahon has brought to me has made me a professional wrestler to this very day, and I'm not going to stop watching WWE because of it. That's stupid. Even this goes to the other people too who say things like, well, because they're releasing R-Truth, that means I'm no longer going to watch WWE. No, miss me with the nonsense. You don't have to virtue signal about this also. You don't have to say just because they're releasing R-Truth, that automatically means you're not going to watch WWE. Because first off, you're not going to do that. You're not. You're just saying it just a grandstand. You're not going to fucking do it. All these opinions, left and right, center, is all fucking stupid in the end of the day, when all you have to do is just reflect off the situation objectively. Why did they release a beloved superstar who actually provided substance to the company, metrically and emotionally? It makes no sense. Call Triple H out on it and ask what the fuck is going on. Push it without the unnecessary having to focus on racism and all this other dumb shit because you have a narrative that you want to spin. No, it was a dumb dick decision, and that in itself alone is enough to bring up any criticism that should go his way. You don't have to say anything bad about WWE. You don't have to say anything good about WWE. You just have to question the situation at hand. Why can't anyone do this? Why is it so fucking hard to do this? It's annoying, man. It's really, really annoying when looking at the fan base nowadays and seeing the way how they conduct themselves, man. It's like you live in your echo chamber and people run these narratives around you in order for you to fucking cope, and you take these coping narrative in order to make yourself feel like, well, that has to be the correct decision. That has to be the reason why that happened, and therefore how I feel right now is very much justified. And in fact, I can even go a little bit further and say some very unruly things that have no substance behind it because this situation correlates with my narrative. Why do people do this shit is beyond me. It's so fucking annoying. Just like the other things that I'm hearing for everybody else. I understand. I get it. I completely understand. No, R-Truth being released does not affect you. No, R-Truth being released does not make your life any miserable or any better. I get it. I understand. We are talking about a topic at face value that's directly in front of your face. Okay? If you don't care, by all means, don't care. But if you're going to have a conversation, if you're going to put your 2 cents into the conversation, then at least go out of your way to be good faith and discuss the conversation in a scope. And if you can't do that, then you're talking about, well, man, I don't understand. It's one thing to have the opinion, right? But it has to coincide at least with what we're talking about at the moment. Talk about how you don't care, but at the same time say whether or not that what's happening currently at the moment is the good thing or a bad thing. Can you do that or can you not do that? Or do you just want to fucking ramble on about how you personally feel as if anyone gives a fuck? It was a terrible decision, no matter how you spin this. It was a terrible decision. I don't understand it, and I don't get it, and I never will understand it. I never will get it. And at the same time, I like WWE. And at the same time, it was a dumb decision. See how that works? But we'll get more news as it starts to roll out. Maybe there's some consideration as to why this happened. I need to know if it has anything to do with money out of pure curiosity. Does his contract outweigh what he actually produced for the company? Does any of this make any sense? Clearly, it has nothing to do with the wrestling in itself, because clearly R-Truth not wrestling still draws more than all your wrestlers combined who want to do 450 flips on a given Friday, Sunday, Monday, Saturday, or a Wednesday. It's all stupid. It's all cope. It's dumb. I want to know what was the main reason. And if it had anything to do with money, I need to know, A, did R-Truth reject a contract that he was expecting to getting, or did he reject a position backstage that they were trying to give him? His contract in itself, does it outweigh anything in regards to what he was actually producing? If none of this happens to be true, then please, oh please, explain to me the positives out of all this. But we'll wait for more news to roll out. We only have what we have currently at the moment, and currently at the moment, none of this shit makes any sense. But as always, my name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you guys later. Deuces, P, Ice.